very equal race.
Sanchez in the right lane, Yeoman in the left.
And we've got a foul start, Bob.
Frank Sanchez trips the red light, and so Jerry Yeoman gets out of it, and he'll have an easy run into the semifinals. Our next matchup will be Jerry Bascom from Bedford Heights, Ohio, who put Ricky Smith on the truck in the first round against Tommy Mooney.
Well, let's see if he can handle Mooney. Mooney qualified with a 7:51. Hailing out of Shelby, North Carolina, very experienced, and no, Bascom's in the semifinals. Look at that, a 7:56.
And so the Cinderella story continues for the Ohio crew. Here's Brett.
Didn't take a hole shot this time, but you are in the semifinals of the first race you ever qualified for, Jerry.
I'm thrilled. I'm telling you, I can't say enough for the guys that help work on the car, the owners, Tommy and Wayne. They did a tremendous job. I mean, they got the clutch set up just perfect. Car's running good. I don't know what else to say.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see who wins the next one, because if you will line up against the white and red car, you have a chance to take out the number 1 and 2 pointsmen in this race, as Tim Neighbors should be coming down in a minute.
Oh, that'd be a thrill. Oh, wow.
It sure would. See you then.
Okay, thank you very much.
So we'll see if Neighbors will be his semifinal opponent. Meanwhile, our next matchup will have Terry Adams in the far lane up against Pat Musey.
Pat Musey, former New Jersey resident, longtime pro stock racer, now residing in Davie, Florida.
They are away cleanly. Musey in the right lane, the yellow car of Adams in the left lane. Down to the line they come. Too close to call. It's Musey.
Great run, Pat Musey, a 7:55, 183. This competition is incredibly close. Musey was actually off the starting line first. Start pulling on Terry Adams, the Wilkesboro, North Carolina 8th, and a very tight race. You couldn't. Wow, look at that. About 5 feet, Bob.
And we'll see if the upsets continue. Here is Tim Neighbors, top qualifier out of Lawrenceville, Georgia. He's going to go up against Larry Morgan, the number 9 qualifier out of Newark, Ohio.
Well, you can bet Ricky Smith is standing somewhere nearby watching this race, because if Neighbors wins this, he could go around Smith in the points one more time.
They are away. Morgan getting the whole shot in the right-hand lane, but Neighbors with that mountain motor starts to pull on him. Another good drag race.
You couldn't tell who won it. Larry Morgan has upset the mountain motor of Tim Neighbors. Let's look at it one more time. Morgan was out first easily. Here comes the big Castrol Oldsmobile, and in the lights, about 2 feet on this one.
Larry, that was a race that is the second largest upset of this event, if only because Tim Neighbors was shooting to move into the points lead with Ricky Smith. You kept him in a 7:55 to losing 7:55 battle from moving in on Smith.
Well, I'll tell you, I mean, I didn't do that by choice. You know, I was just trying to run just like he was. You know, we shook the tires pretty bad, and I think that we'll run a low 50 this next run.
Well, you're going to have to, because you are going to be up against the upset master of this race, the man who put out Ricky Smith and then Tommy Mooney in his first ever race, Jerry Bascom, the newcomer.
All I can do is the best job I can do.
And you've done a pretty good one so far. See you then, guy.
Thank you much.
Take a look at this. All of our semifinalists in Pro Stock came from the slow half of the draft. Morgan will have lane choice against Bascom in the semis, while Musey will have lane choice against Jerry Yeoman. Now we move on to Alcohol Funny Car quarterfinal action, and our first matchup will be Phil Sebring out of Bellevue, Ohio. He'll be going up against Bob Newberry from Schenectady, New York.
Well, Sebring is going to have to pull a rabbit out of the hat. He qualified with a 6:43. Newberry came storming into Norwalk, set the crowd on its ear with a 6:09.
Sebring, the number 9 qualifier. Let's see if the upsets we saw in Pro Stock continue. What's this?
Sebring punches on the red light, shuts the car down. He was trying to anticipate the starter. He figured if he could leave now and get the whole shot on Newberry, it was really the only chance he had. It didn't work.
And so the number 1 qualifier moves on. Our next matchup will be Shad Wheeler out of Fredericktown, Ohio, the number 11 qualifier, up against Mark Thomas, battling for a points championship. He comes in at number 3.
Wheeler's Little Thumper car, a sentimental favor with the crowd, and of course the big milk car of Mark Thomas, a great matchup here.
Both cars away cleanly. Looked like Thomas gets the edge, but he gets sideways, goes right to the center line. Let's see if he can pull it off, and he does.
Mark Thomas moves on with a 6:48, 217, but what a hole shot. Take a look now. Thomas is out first, but Wheeler actually catches him. Both cars almost touching the center line.
He asked me before you took your helmet off, did I cross the center line? The answer is no, but you were darn close.
Yeah, it shook real hard. I couldn't see where I was at.
We've heard that before this year.
Yeah, quite a few times. And I know what caused it, so I hope we can straighten that out.
Matter of the clutch?
Yeah, clutch and the fuel system with the high helix and the clutch deal really affects it when you try to make a change. Should have left well enough alone, but I think we'll be okay.
That new high helix supercharger's definitely stepped you up. A career best 22 in qualifying, but the big problem now is a 648. Will it get you lane choice? The answer is we don't know. Greg Moss is coming up.
Yeah, Moss is tough. He's stumbling and he's tough. He's hit and miss. I think he's fighting the same problems we are right now.
It's interesting that you would know that he is #1 and not that you two are tied, because you're less than 1 round in points apart.
It's close. It's close, and that's good. I like it that way, so we'll see what happens here.
If Moss gets past this one, you'll beat him in the semis. Good luck.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I don't know if he said meet or beat. Our next round will be Ronnie Midyett against Jim Bailey, #5 and #13. Get a little squirrely off the line as Midyett.
Look at the Corvette of Ronnie Midyett, 640, 222. He moves into the semis,
where he will meet Greg Moss. Chuck Cheeseman in the left lane tripped the red light in our final matchup. And so here's the way the ladder looks. Bob Newberry will face Ronnie Midyett. Midyett with lane choice by virtue of the lower ET. Mark Thomas will have lane choice against Greg Moss in the other semifinal. Afternoon at Norwalk Raceway Park. Time for nitro burning funny car action. This is your points leader, Doc Holliday.
Well, Doc Holliday in that potent Dodge Daytona against this man, Tony Mack, or Tony McCollum. Tony Mack, the winner of the Spring Nationals, has been a definite force this year, Bob.
And Doc Holliday looking for 2 in a row. He was a winner at the Gateway Nationals in St. Louis about a month ago. Now he's going up against the only man, a black driver, to win any championship class in the IHRA. Cars get away evenly, but McCallum has traction troubles, and Doc Holliday has a walkover.
Doc Holliday with a great 5.58, 263 miles per hour.
Our next matchup, R.C. Sherman, hoping to run down Holliday in the points. He's up against 7 qualifier Al Hoffman.
Hoffman out on top. Here comes Sherman, passes him, and Hoffman shuts it down. An easy win for RC, 551, 273 miles per hour.
And we move on to the next matchup. #3 qualifier, Art Hendy from San Bernardino, California, up against Whit Bazemore of Pensacola, Florida.
Whit Bazemore been doing a very respectable driving job, and yes, he bumps off Art Hendy. He'll move into the semifinals.
And that is a big upset. Now here is the man, King Kenny Bernstein, in his IHRA debut this season. He comes in as the top qualifier in the Budweiser Quaker State Buick.
He's going against Gary Bolger. Talk about the old and the new. This is a 1978 Mustang with 78 technology against Kenny Bernstein and the triple trick computer control Budweiser King.
Now, Bolger is not driving a fiberglass replica car like Tom McEwen's or Diamond Dave Miller's. This is an actual Mustang. This is in sheet metal, and it looks like he got the whole shot. No, he red lights against King Kenny.
That's right. Same thing we saw earlier in the show. Bolger took a shot at it, didn't make it. Kenny moves into the next round.
And in the next round, he will have lane choice against his opponent, Doc Holliday. That should be a good matchup. R.C. Sherman will have lane choice against surprise Whit Bazemore.